Hi, welcome back to WHOTV, and today we're reviewing City of Death, Part 2. Our episode starts from the last episode's cliffhanger.
Depends on what you want to do. What? I think we're being invited to leave.
Carlos? Carlos?
What I don't get about this is the way he removes his mask. He rips it from the middle. It would damage the face mask. Something's not quite right there. Oh well. On we go. Two thugs shove the Doctor, Romana, and Duggan into the chateau. Herman takes them to the lounge and shoves the Doctor in at gunpoint, forcing him to the ground. This also marks the appearance of one of Tom Baker's most famous lines as the Doctor.
I say, what a wonderful butler. He's so violent. Hello. I'm called the Doctor. That's Romana. That's Duggan. You must be the Countess Scaglione. And this is clearly a delightful Louis Cairns chair. May I sit in it? I say, haven't they worn well? Thank you, Herman. That'll be all. Romana?
The Doctor dismisses Herman. He invites himself to drink and seats Romana and Duggan preparing drinks for them too. He tells her he is a thief. Romana, his assistant, and Duggan, the detective, who caught him. When the Countess tells him she was under the impression that Duggan was following her, the Doctor says she is a beautiful woman, probably, and that Duggan was likely after a dinner date.
This is Duggan. He's a detective who's been kind enough to catch me. That's his job. You see, our two lines of work dovetail beautifully.
Very interesting.
Yes.
I was rather under the impression that Mr. Duggan was following me.
Oh, well, you're a beautiful woman, probably. And Duggan was trying to sum up the courage to ask you out to dinner, weren't you, Duggan? Who sent me what?
Doctor, the more you try to convince me that you're a fool, the more I'm likely to think otherwise. Now, it would only be the work of a moment.
Romana picks up a puzzle box. The Countess insists she put it down, as she will never solve it. Romana opens it in seconds and takes out the bracelet that the Doctor stole before.
Oh, look.
Yes.
The Count enters and takes the bracelet. He seems curiously happy to meet these strangers, although he insists upon knowing why the Doctor took his wife's bracelet.
Stole it from me.
Hello there. How very curious. Two thieves enter the Louvre gallery and come out with a bracelet. Couldn't you think of anything more interesting to steal? Well, I just thought it was awfully pretty. A terribly unusual design. Of course, it would have been much nicer to have stolen one of the pictures, but I've tried that before and all sorts of alarms go off, which disturbs the concentration.
Yes, it would. So you stole the bracelet simply because it's pretty?
Yes. Well, I think it is, don't you?
The Count ends the interview,
I think he's as stupid as he seems.
making the Doctor jump up and talk about lunch with Duggan and Romana. When Duggan picks up the chair in defense against the Count's butler, Herman, the Doctor asked what he thinks he is doing with the priceless Louis Quinns. Because Herman can shoot Duggan, the Doctor pretends to care more about the chair not being damaged. The Count orders Herman to show them to the cellar where they'll be locked in.
Long enough.
Really? That long? Restored 400 or 500 years ago?
He enthusiastically leads them into the cellar. The Doctor questions Herman. He learns that the chateau was built 400 or 500 years before. The Doctor catches a glimpse of equipment before Herman locks him in the cellar closet and gives him a light which will last them 2 or 3 hours.
In here, I said.
Can they light it if you wish?
How long is this thing going to last us?
2 hours, maybe 3.
What happens after that?
After that, you won't need any light.
Well, it's not working.
Duggan asks what the Doctor is playing at. They could have escaped at least twice by now. The Doctor tells him his plan. Let them think that they have them safe and escape after finding out what they came for. He takes out his sonic screwdriver and opens the door to the cell.
It's working. Would you like to stay on as my scientific advisor?
Doctor,
Yes?
the horizontal length of the stairs is about 6 meters, isn't it?
Romana calculates the horizontal length of the stairs and figures out there must be an unseen area of the room. The Doctor, impressed by Romana's mathematical skills, wants to look at the lab first.
Last few hours I've been thumped, threatened, abducted and imprisoned.
The Doctor and Romana examine the equipment. The Doctor explains what is happening to Duggan.
I think this lab might have something to do with it.
Cut that stuff out, will you? What about the Mona Lisa?
What about it?
You reckon the Count and Countess are out to steal it?
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I'm going to stop them.
They're not going to steal it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, are they?
Why not?
Because the Louvre is still open. Now, while we're here, why don't you and I find out how they're going to steal it and why? Or are you just in it for the thumping?
I'm in it mainly to protect the interests of the art dealers
I
who
know,
employ me.
but mainly for the thumping. What do you think Romana's up to?
I don't know.
Nor do I. It looks intriguing, don't you think?
I don't care. I'm going.
Kerensky comes down the stairs and Romana and Duggan hide. The Doctor acts as though he has only just arrived and claims that to be fascinated by the Professor's research.
Who are you?
Me.
Yes, who are you? What are you doing here?
Me? I'm the Doctor. What you're doing is terribly interesting, but you've got it wrong.
During the reverse space-time continuum experiment, Duggan knocks out the Professor Kerensky. Meanwhile, Romana has found another room behind the wall in the cellar.
He's fainted.
No, I hit him. Now, can we stop worrying about conjuring tricks with chickens and get out of this place?
That's your philosophy, isn't it? If it moves, hit it. He's going to be all right. If you do that one more time, Duggan, I'm going to take very, very severe measures.
Yeah, like what?
I'm going to ask you.
I was right.
Now what?
Those measurements. There's another room behind the wall, bricked up.
Is this important?
Let's look. Very impressive.
Brickwork's very old.
Yeah. 400 or 500 years.
In which case, we can wait another hour or two while we sort these guys out.
In my view, a room that's been bricked up for 400 or 500 years is urgently overdue for an airing.
Come on, let's get out of here. We've got the Mona Lisa to worry about.
The Count gives the Countess's bracelet back to her, saying she must wear it always. When she asks how he did it, he smiles enigmatically and says he came from a family of geniuses.
Wait. We now come to the second and far more interesting line of defense, the laser beams. Interrupt them and every alarm in Paris will go off instantly. To get through them, we must alter the refractive index of the very air itself. Heavens. A prismatic field now deflects the beams, and the picture is accessible.
The Count gives the Countess's bracelet back to her, saying she must wear it at all times. When she asks how he did it, he smiles enigmatically and says he came from a family of geniuses.
My dear, you must be a genius.
Meanwhile, back at the chateau, the doctor chisels on the bricks. He tells Romana that the professor thinks he's breeding chickens, but Scaglione is using the equipment to distort time. Duggan tells them there are 7 people in his address book that would be willing to pay for the Mona Lisa to be part of their private collection. To get through the bricks, the doctor needs some sort of machinery. Duggan obliges by knocking into the wall.
I think I'm going to need some machinery.
I've got all the machinery I need.
Hey?
Stand back. We've been here a long time.
Inside the secret corridor, the doctor finds not 1, not 2, not even 4, but 6 different Mona Lisas, which he believes to be the genuine article.
Mona Lisa. Must be a fake. I don't know what's hanging in the Louvre, but this is the genuine article.
They must be fakes.
The brushwork's Leonardo's.
How can you tell?
Well, it's as characteristic as a signature. The pigment, too.
On all of them?
Everyone.
Meanwhile, the doctor suggests that Duggan would not be a perfect criminal,
Make a very good criminal.
but the Count shows up and shows him that real criminals don't get caught.
I can.
Duggan knocks out Scaglione, allowing them to go upstairs and sneak back into the house.
Duggan, why is it that every time I start to talk to someone, you knock him unconscious?
Didn't expect them to go down that easy.
Well, if you don't understand his, you shouldn't go about hitting them.
Well, what else would you suggest?
Duggan! Your job is to stop his men from stealing the Mona Lisa. The other Mona Lisa.
The Countess, who is trying to ambush them herself, eventually gets knocked out by a priceless work of pottery. He asks Romana to look after Duggan as he leaves to meet a middle-aged Italian in the Renaissance.
No, you have. Romana, you look after him. I've got to go meet an Italian. Middle-aged Italian, in fact, late middle-aged Renaissance. Come on.
The Doctor arrives at the Denis Rene Art Gallery where the TARDIS is parked.
Hello, K9. You all right?
After a quick greeting to K9, the TARDIS materializes in Florence, Italy, in the year 1505. The Doctor takes a brief moment to enjoy the Renaissance sunshine. He calls for Leonardo after a whistling with some birds. He tells Leonardo that everyone loved The Last Supper, and most of his other paintings. He asks if Leonardo remembers the Mona Lisa, that dreadful woman with no eyebrows who wouldn't sit still. The idea for a helicopter took a long time to catch on, however.
Yeah.
You.
Me?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, well, I just dropped by to see Leonardo.
A soldier points a long saber at his face. Leonardo is engaged in important work for Captain Tancredi. The Doctor gapes as he knows the name. The guard asks the Doctor if he knows the name, which of course he does not. The guard makes the Doctor sit. Tancredi will want to question him. The Doctor wants to question Tancredi. Tancredi walks in. The Doctor asks the Captain what he is doing here. Tancredi's face is that of Scarlione.
I think that is exactly.
This is also the cliffhanger for Part 2.
Doctor.
And that's it for this week. Join in next week where we review City of Death, Part 3. I'm Bo, and see you next week.